Alrighty then, today's video is another working man's diamond, and it's a Jungle Zack one today. For Trick 1. Also right now, Zack is finding himself at the very top of the jungle food chain. For Trick 2. Basically, all his homies got nerfed, and in order to be number 1, you don't necessarily have to step up, everyone has to step back. Right now in this game, I'm taking a cooldown reduction heavy build, cooldown reduction blues, and cooldown reduction quints. I'm also taking armor yellow and magic pen red, although you can take whatever reds and yellows you want. My masteries are also 12, 0, 18, although some people like going 0, 18, 12 masteries, getting super hammy on that cooldown reduction. Anyways, the first thing I do is gain Katarina, although I missed my E because I assumed she was going to go back. Thankfully, we have a lot of damage alongside the Zed, and he's able to finish her off and get the first blood. Although, in a sort of kind of return, my top laner dies and my bottom laner dies, and at least he gets a kill in return. This is going to be kind of the setting stone for the rest of the game. A lot of the early game is basically a lot of it personifies gold. Basically, one of the things I've always noticed in gold is that a lot of players overcommit to things because they assume their opponents aren't capable of, playing the same game as they are. So a lot of times you see people initiate, whole hog. They go in with all their summoner spells and then they get slapped and now they're at a disadvantage. Like you kind of can see this in someone like the Darius and also my bottom lane Corki, where they're overcommitting to things or they're just not paying attention to the movements of their opponents and whatnot, so they miss a lot of opportunities or try to go for opportunities that aren't actually there. You can also notice by the amount of pings in the entire map, or at least for a lot of pings that one player is particularly making, that it's not a happy game. If you were watching on stream, you knew there was a lot of ragers in this one. So for the most part, I'm kind of working to stabilize the game, or at least stabilize the angriest players. And that happens to be bottom lane, so you're going to see me gravitate towards them the most. Top lane, Darius is pretty much pushing constantly, and even though he's making himself a threat, a target for the Rek'Sai really isn't seemingly focusing him, so whatever, right? Anyhow, the cooldown reduction build is a pretty damn good one. It mostly focuses on trying to make Zack's early game wishy-washiness a lot better. With a cooldown reduction, you're able to spam your E a lot more and kind of artificially increase your sustain and basically your damage, because a lot of your damage is on your E, and having it on a higher cooldown without cooldown reduction of any sort kind of makes it that you can only really use it once in a fight. With more cooldown reduction, you can use it 2 or even 3 times, and thus increasing your damage. And also your chasing potential, you can aim the thing. Anyways, that gank you saw there was pretty much premeditated. I kind of knew that Rek'Sai and the team were gonna try to go way too ham on the Darius. Like I said, the players in gold tend to overcommit a little too much for basically no benefit. Like here, the Teemo should know I'm still around. This is a fake out, teleport back. He saw maybe because I stepped on the shroom and I faked that I was going to go back. And he gets a little too close and then he does it again. So yeah, I do kind of screw up the flash ultimate, but I have my passive. Thankfully, the Darius realizes that he should tank this a couple more shots just so I don't get blown up. And also, I'm surprised to have learned even just then that the damn thing doesn't continue focusing me even though I reform. But whatever the case, I managed to survive, and we get a kill on the Teemo and the tower as well. So this game is going very well for us so far, but my bottom lane is still crumbling and also fighting a lot. You can see again in the mini-map, there are a lot of pings coming from one player, and that happens to be the Corki, so I'm gravitating towards bottom lane a little bit more. Also kind of to steal the blue buff, and because the enemy team doesn't seem to understand that you really should not underestimate Darius just because he's alone. Anyways, Cookies engages in a fight against the Caitlyn and fights it so poorly that he loses even though he had the advantage. Regardless, it basically made Caitlyn an easy kill for me. I just jump on her and easily destroy her. You can see some pings go out on me, he's like, get the fuck back, but whatever, I'm just kind of ignoring this guy at this point. So hooray for us. Now, of course, the benefit of Zack also is that if you're getting really fed, you can go AP, or even partially AP with an Abyssal Scepter, which in truth also kind of coincides with the cooldown reduction build. But of course, I'm going to go with the classical Spirit Visage and then Boots of Lucidity to maximize my cooldown reduction as much as possible alongside getting blue. You can already see I don't really need that much damage to chunk the shit out of people, plus the Caitlyn is kind of under-leveled because I've been power farming and getting a lot of very valuable kills. Of course, though, my teammates kind of overcommit, and Zed gets killed even though he gets the Katarina, and that's pretty bad. Corki's going to come in here for some reason. He does follow up on me, but I don't think he needed to do. I was more doing a harassing play. But still, though, right now the the little shadows, I forget what the damn thing called. Her little CC missile grabbed somebody, and for some reason she didn't notice she was tanking the tower, so she got pretty much died to the tower shots, and then Caitlyn hadn't blasted her at some point. So yay for gold, right? Nonetheless, we technically come out ahead, although pretty much none of us really needed to die in that part. So, but whatever, it's gold again, right? As long as you're ahead of the enemy team, and as long as some of the buffoons in your squad aren't as bad as the ones on their squad, you'll be fine. Like, hell, that whole situation there with Darius was pretty laughable. If they couldn't kill him, they shouldn't be sending as many resources. If you can't really push, you should just kind of worry more about defending rather than trying to kill a guy they can't seem to kill. Remember, if you can't kill someone in a meaningful way, don't go too ham on them. If there's no benefit beyond having to actually kill them, then don't really, go for it. Like, again, the enemy team at this point can't really do much against the Darius, yet they keep throwing resources against him specifically. At this point, I think the enemy team should have been focusing more on getting map control, and hopefully maybe making sure that the Teemo can do things. Because if they take away the Darius from my team, the Corki has pretty much shown that he really can't do anything. So yeah, it's sort of the enemy team not being able to realize the folly of their own mistakes, and it's kind of starting to snowball against them. Like, I mean, as a jungler to jungler, I am crushing the Rek'Sai. Even though technically 2-3-3 isn't the worst score you can have, I've pretty much dominated. I've gained so much experience, I've gained so much power, and my automation is going to be way too strong. And I kind of counter like half their team, so yeah, I am a little bit too strong for them to handle right now. So even though my Corki is a little bit of a raging nut job, it doesn't matter. Although we can still lose if people really overcommit. But to be honest, the Zed, even though he overcommitted, he managed to keep himself from dying, so that's all good. Like, hell, look, I can walk up to the Katarina and basically just tell her to leave because, just yell at her all angry and shit, because she can't really fight me off. I dive in with the idea that maybe I would have been able to do something, but if you guys watched the stream, you guys saw that no matter how much I was hitting my keyboard, I couldn't use my ultimate for whatever reason, and I kind of died. Although, if I had used my ultimate, I think I would have probably survived and maybe even killed a couple people. But whatever. We're still too ahead, so that blunder of mine, or whatever the hell happened there, isn't going to bother us too much. However, my teammates are hanging around way too much, and they're forgetting that there's a Katarina. No matter how fucked up she is, she can kill you by mashing her face on the keyboard. And for whatever reason, the Corki gets a melee range of her, basically allowing her to easily combo him, so she just butchers his ass. And then the enemy team forgets that Darius is a big thing that you don't want to get in melee range against, and they too get basically a little too close, and Darius kills the Katarina, applies his passive on basically everybody, then he kills the goddamn Caitlyn very slowly, and then he ends up running away from the Rek'Sai for a little while, and eventually the Rek'Sai will kill him. He should have probably run towards me, and maybe I could have protected him, but damn, that shit didn't need to go down the way it did. But the enemy team was just let's just say they were really disrespecting the the Darius in that situation. And again, that is just the lower elos thing, the gold thing, where they really disrespect their opponents, and they don't really understand that if you, by doing this disrespect, by trying to trade, I don't know, by disrespecting their opponents and not taking it seriously, they're gonna end up wasting more resources, time, and just benefit, or missing opportunities that are just there. Or trying to force things that aren't going to work out, and thus losing the game for them. I mean, yeah, even though I'm in gold elo, I am actually kind of taking both my teammates and my opponents, intelligently. Like, I'll only make plays if I know, or for the most part, I'll try to make plays if I know my opponents, or make plays against my opponents with the assumption that they won't be, stupid. So, like, it can't possibly go completely wrong unless I execute it poorly. Like, in this case, they really commit to fighting me, though there is no chance in hell they would have fucking killed me. So by wasting time trying to fight me, it allows the Darius and everyone else to show up and just finish off the Rek'Sai. I mean, the Janna might have just died because we weren't going to let her go, but the Rek'Sai died because, I don't know, she fought me. She fought me when there was no chance in hell of actually doing anything. Anyhow, though, as you can see, this game is finally winding down. I've become pretty much the Jesus slime. They can't kill me, and I do too much damage, and basically none of my teammates are gonna die as long as I'm around them. And that's pretty much how Zac kind of works right now in all divisions. You just carry way too much momentum and way too much. You're way too hard to kill. Unlike all other momentum-based junglers, they tend to crumble if they fall apart. But unlike them, Zac can fall back just working like a regular tank. It's just being an initiator or some kind of makeshift peeler. But if he's fed or snowballing, he just shits on everybody. So he's kind of a little bit ridiculously strong in that sense, or at least as a momentum jungler. Anyways, we catch Teemo. Like I use pretty much everything just to make sure he dies, because honestly he was probably the only real threat the opponents had, even though he's 1-5-1. But the enemy team didn't capitalize on using Teemo's distraction or anything, so it kind of fell apart on them. They give chase against the Rek'Sai, eventually she gets gunned down, and then we go for the Baron, but by then the enemy team has had enough, and they choose to surrender. Either way, hooray for Zac, and onwards to Diamond for me. This channel is supported by my sponsors, Crunchyroll and Loot Crate. Check out the description below for links to the websites. Signing up for any trials, including Crunchyroll's free anime trial, greatly supports my channel. Also remember to give the video a like to support the channel, and subscribe if you haven't yet. I've also made a Patreon now, and if you wish to support me through that medium, then I welcome it.